one thing you got to always, well, she told me two things. The first thing was she said, don't ever turn down business, right? she's like, I don't care what the
Never
contract.
say no. Eh?
Exactly. I don't care how small it
Oh,
is,
I
big it
like this
is.
tip.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Now, myself, 105, 106 entrepreneurs that come to this podcast on a stop of 5 steps how to make the first million are actually in the real estate business. So people might assume that to become a millionaire in real estate is really easy. I think that in real estate have a lot of potential. My first business was in real estate. We managed to sell over 5 million. However, it has the risk because if something goes wrong in real estate, is the mistake is expensive. You can talk about 50,000, 100,000, quarter million, you name it, depending on the deal. So
Very
how
true.
you made that transition after having a successful business and a cleaning company and managed to survive, now you jump into real estate development, which is completely different ball game because if something goes wrong, we're talking about a lot of money. But if
Yes.
something goes well, it's amazing. And
Right.
what happened there? When did you decided that you want to jump into real estate? Were you aware of the risk that
Yeah.
that might occur jumping into development, which is there are big words and
It's a
big
big
money
word.
and big
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So
No.
what happened? How
Yeah.
come you
Well,
jump into this?
I started pretty early because when I was in college, I used to have a townhouse and I used to rent some of the rooms to college students, and that rent would pay my that their rent would pay my mortgage, right?
Very
So
good.
when I figured that out, I was like, okay, there's something to this. And then after I had a property, I had like a couple of properties. My neighbor was a really good general contractor. And at the time, you had all these shows about flipping houses, and they put the money on the screen, how much they made. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So,
That makes
I had
sense.
a,
That makes
yeah, so I'm
sense.
like, it makes sense. I'm like, so my neighbor basically did, he's a general contractor, which is key. He
Mhm. Oh, in
basically
that
was,
business, you do need good builders.
you have to have a
You
really
need
good one,
them.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's key.
we started working together, and I would provide the funding. We'd find a house, he would flip it, and whatever it cost, we deduct it from, the
Hmm.
cost of the project, and then we would split the rest. So I really started to understand just what it takes to just flip a house. So that was like my education in that area, just all the construction, tearing down walls, supplies, things of that nature. So I was watching him and I was learning. But rehabbing is not what it's all built up to be. Like you got to pay everybody before you get paid. You got to
Hmm.
do the construction. You got to pay the realtors. They got to market it. The house has to go for sale at a certain price point for you to make money. So I learned that there were some good deals, there were some bad deals. So then
Yeah,
I decided that I wanted to move up in the food chain more to property development, right? Which at the end of the day, when it comes to development properties, it's all about capital, right? I mean, it's hard to get into the game because you have to have enough capital to finance a deal or at least cover part of the deal so you can get additional finance, especially when you're doing deals like as big as we do, 2, 3, $4 million deals. You definitely have to have that track record that I talked about, and then you definitely have to have the capital to kind of move into it. But again, when I was doing flips, I was using hard money, right? So that's what made it tough too.
well,
I was getting high interest loans to do the deals. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But it goes to our point again. As an entrepreneur, you had to take risk. You know,
I you
um,
have to learn by doing. If you don't
you
make
have
this
to learn.
mistake, I bet that if you haven't this money that maybe you didn't make flipping houses in the years that they went wrong, well, that's experience to go into development because now you're more cautious and you're more risk. you understand the risk. Yeah. So what are the developments, Marcel, basically, that you're working at the moment all over US, or you specialize
No.
in?
Right now, because I'm in Virginia. So I'm on
Mhm.
the outskirts of Washington, DC and Maryland. So a lot of my deals are in Washington, DC right now.
Yeah. So then, Marcel, what message do you have for our listeners? They they are you talk about mindset and everything is your, and in the end of the day, when you start this business and things, it doesn't kind of work out like we really wanted at the beginning. We find out that we had to wear all the hats. So we have to do the sale, we have to do the marketing, we have to do everything. And now we start to face rejection. And people are telling you, no, 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 they don't want your product, they don't want your service, and because nobody knows you, the good employees doesn't want to work with you. And if they want with you, they want to charge you a lot of money because nobody knows you. Then the clients want to pay you cheap because again, nobody knows you, so they ask you for discount. Then the supplier, again, nobody knows you, so I'm gonna give you different terms. And then you're receiving no, 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 no everywhere. And then there are things that you don't know how to do it, and but you have to do it because you don't have money to pay. And with my property business, I remember I was doing the painting and everything myself. It was
Yep.
no like I remember when my business advanced, I hope my manager something got broken and they were taking the phone and said, calling the contractor, can you go and fix this? Can you paint this? Can you paint? And I was looking at the girls. I said, no, guys, you do the thing so easy. You won't believe at the beginning how the thing was. I had to do it myself. You guys just take the phone and call and pass me the bill and that's it.
Nope.
Great,
Nope.
great, but this business, it was not built like this. I had
Exactly.
to do it myself at the beginning, and if I knew how to paint or not, that was I had to learn, and that's the end of it. So, um, but in the end of the day, myself, all this negativity, all this negative emotion, because sometimes you make it about yourself. Say, wow, they don't want to buy my product because of me. uh, you make it personally. You're thinking that entrepreneurs, we take our business personal, like our baby, and then if somebody doesn't want to buy from us, we think there's something wrong with us. It's affect our mindset, and probably this negative emotion come if you don't deal with can become this emotional pain can become a physical pain. People can entrepreneurs can end up with cancer, with a heart attack. We believe in this broadcast that all the entrepreneurs should be wealthy, healthy, and happy. And this phrase that you have behind you, work hard and stay humble, it was my biggest lesson in business. Yeah, because when I started in business, I thought that was a big deal. And I
Yep.
thought, I thought that I'm the boss here, and I don't trust anybody, and that's why I didn't want to employ people because I didn't trust anybody. And
Hmm.
so, what if I give the keys to my employees and they steal the computer from my tenants? And so I was in this mindset: I don't trust anybody. But there is you doing everything by your own. You can scale until certain point, and I couldn't function anymore. I have large portfolio property. I was doing something very similar what you described, rent to rent. We were renting the houses, fixing them and renting by units to students. And but it was certain point of when I have 7 or 8 houses, and I couldn't function anymore. There were always 2 rooms empty, and I have a job in the Hilton back then, so I'm half building my business at the same time that working as a room service attendant in London. And I was so tired that I was falling asleep with my laptop, and I was angry, tired. You know, when you don't sleep, you get this, and again, you're dealing with all these uh, phases of the early beginnings of the business that you have to deal with all negativity, especially growing. Uh, but then, out of necessity, I started to hide the people, and the girls they were better than me at everything. To the point that one day I arrived to the office, they sent me home. They told me, Harry, we don't need you anymore here. Go home,
That's good
travel the
stuff.
world. Don't come to the office because you giving us conversation because you have nothing to do and you don't let us work. So But the whole point, Marcel, it was the transition in my brain from rather than be this big shot and a big deal, everybody had what I say. So to move into exactly what you described, I work hard but stay humble. I realized that, if I stay humble and I empower my employees and I give them more access, more control, and be part of the business, I didn't want to be this type of boss that when the staff go out for a drink, they let me out. I didn't want them to let me out of the thing. I was,
Yeah.
I would have nightmares. Like so, sometimes at work you see everybody goes for a drink. No, don't call the boss. Don't call the boss. Let him go. We won't invite him. I'm saying no way that is my employee. They're gonna go out to have fun and they're gonna leave me out. So I had to be part of the group, whatever it takes. I want to be with them. I have to be one of them. So that reduced, the level of sometimes entrepreneurs we have that ego, so we make the business maybe for the wrong reason. That we doing it because we want to be a big shot or we want to be this egocentric uh, boss that everything runs around you, and it's very contradictory because when you want to set the business, we find out that you cannot set the business because the business won't operate if you're not around, right? So
Exactly.
when Marcel just I think that you live by you believe because it's even in your background. Work hard by stay humble. When do you realize that in order for you to have your mental health check and to do it and to make your business to grow and succeed and do multi-million pound deals in property, you actually, I mean, you don't have to be humble if you don't want. You are a big deal. However, you choose to work hard and stay humble, to uh, to do it for the business, to do it for your employees, and at the end of the day, the business is not about you. It's about what you're offering out there, the benefit that you offer to the marketplace, and your role is not that they make a started at you or they clap at you. Your role is to empower your employees and to treat well your customers. And so when do you discover this? That you
You
have to
know,
work hard and stay humble.
well, that when I was fortunate enough, again, when I started to come in, when I entered the business world, I bought a franchise, right? So that's not the same as like starting from scratch. Like, because with franchises, they have a strong system in place, and
Yeah, you
they
you just need to operate it and
right.
be a
And
good
you
operator and the thing
and
should work, right?
and it should work. And then the good part about that was, I had other mentors that had already been in business for 15, 20 years, and they were already pretty big companies. And I remember Donna OJ, who was the first one, she told me, she was like, one thing you got to always, well, she told me two things. The first thing was she said, don't ever turn down business, right? she's like, I don't care what the
Never
contract.
say no. Eh?
Exactly. I don't care how small it
Oh,
is,
I
big
like
it
this
is.
tip.
Everybody the same. Like, get the money. Like, no matter what it is, make it happen. So never say no in business. That's what she said. And then two, she said, you can't grow the business if you're in it, right? So it's kind of what you were pointing out. Like, if I'm feeling like I got to do everything, right? I can't be out there representing my business and growing it in the networks, right? People got to know that the business is out there, and it's my responsibility overall to get new business. So it's not my responsibility just to grow the business, right? I can't be in there vacuuming and helping the girls with everything and talk to them about equipment. Like, I got to have management doing that. I got to trust them so I can go out and go, I have a new business.
That's the issue, Marcel. You have to trust them.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.